Hello and welcome to the TSM Fanhub podcast. This is episode 9. 9. Wow. Guys, 9 weeks. Next week is week 10. That's like
It's a
more
big deal.
weeks. That's like more weeks than an LCS split. Wow.
I can't believe I've stuck around for this long.
Yeah, honestly, I can't think you have either. So, just as a reminder, we are you guys, TSM fans, source for TSM news, game analysis, upcoming matches, predictions, all that fun stuff. We want to give you everything, our quick takes on the org, players, teams, all that fun stuff. Speaking of quick takes, two viewers, are going to quickly take our money. No.
Ooh. That was your most fire intro joke yet.
Good. Man, my goofs, sometimes they don't hit. But that one was all right, and I'm talking about it, which makes it worse. All right.
It makes it even better.
For those of you who are like, what? I'm a viewer, I'm a listener. Do I win? Probably not if you're asking if you win and you didn't comment on the YouTube video. So just a reminder for everyone out there, comment on this episode, and if TSM wins any games, for each game they win, we're doing a $5 RP giveaway. If you comment below, your name goes into the drawing. So, and that value will go up as TSM advances in Worlds. So, what we're gonna do is the one. What are you? Oh, the box. Yeah, someone commented about the box. Thank you. I feel like, should we read their comments after they win? That'd be hysterical. All right, so I'm going to. Oh, come on. What I did was I took all of your names in the order that they were on YouTube, and then I pretty much assigned a random number to each one. Now, know this, we only got 14 unique commenters on this video, which means if you're listening and you didn't comment, those are pretty good odds. 2 of 14 people are going to win this week. So if you should be kicking yourself for those 1 in 7 odds, or whatever it is. I can't do math right now because the first one's 1 in 14 and the second one's 1 in 13. So I don't actually know what the odds are. But whatever. You should seriously be kicking yourself if you didn't comment. Literally, if you had put a period, hit enter, that would have entered yourself into the drawing. But you didn't. So that's all right. You're just going to have to sit by and listen to who won this week. And the people who won this week, drum roll, please. The first person who won is Jonathan Coe. So hey, someone got his comment up and ready to go.
Let me pull this up. Let me do this. Jonathan who?
Jonathan Coe.
Jonathan Coe. Where's your comment, sir?
Should be the.
Love this so much. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate your face, bro. I
so we will be
appreciate your face.
With you on how to get that RP into your account. Pretty cool. Oh wait, guys, TSM won 2 games this week. Spoiler alert. So here comes another draw. Drum roll, please. And we have Cactus Hong.
Cactus Hong. Good stuff, guys. The TSM fan is good. Yes, we are good. We are not just good, we're fucking amazing. That's what we are. The TSM fam is fucking amazing.
All right, so we will be reaching out to you two in this next week. Yeah, just like we are right now. There you go. And let me write those names down so we don't forget. Did I say, was it Jonathan?
Jonathan Coe.
Okay, cool. All right, so we have your names. We'll be reaching out to you at some point in the next week and getting information so that we can send that your way. thank you for participating. Remember, if you won this week, you can win next week. So for all of you guys who didn't participate, not only did you miss out this week, but the same people could win next week, and you could be super salty.
Super salty like teamwork.
That'd be hilarious.
That'd be kind of funny. All right. Well, without further ado, now on to the TSM part of our podcast. That was TSM related, guys. I'm not doing well tonight. Brad, the lack of Brad
Throws everything off balance.
I forgot to introduce you guys. I forgot to say that Brad wasn't with us today, but he'll be coming back. This is a good episode.
Your better half is gone, and you're just lost without him. Your equilibrium's all off and shit.
It's really true. I just feel really edgy. I feel like calling like SKT's going 0-3 with you guys on.
There's just too much chaos in the world. There's not enough balance in this podcast anymore.
So true.
Just me and Jeff just throws all just the shit everywhere.
Well, speaking about you and Jeff and things that you guys are good at, we're gonna get right into the game analysis and breakdown. Smash they had the Big House 7 tournament this weekend, where Leffen took 3rd in singles, Zero took 4th in singles, and then Zero he got 1st in doubles with his partner. I'm gonna remember it the moment you say it.
Zero.
Yep, that's what I said. So why don't you kick us off?
Well, Melee, good job for Leffen for getting 3rd. If you do get to watch the VODs for this for this tournament, watch both sets of Leffen versus Hungry Box. Leffen, both of them go to Game 5. Super fun to watch. Plup, I really probably don't listen to this dude, but I'm really sorry for anybody that watched the tournament. You understand what I'm talking about. Plup, I'm really sorry, man. My condolences. Hungry Box won the tournament. Leffen got 3rd. Very interesting interview, like 7-minute interview with Homemade Waffles. By the way, shout out to Homemade Waffles, dude. You're a good commentator. You need to be recognized for that more, and you do good interviews also. Leffen was in super high spirits afterwards, and he did address his tilting matter, which I thought was super mature of him, because that means he realizes that he tilts off his ass. So he realized after last tournament he went on a huge rant, and he said it probably wasn't the best idea. Blah blah this and blah blah that. That's why after losing this game or this tournament, he wasn't as mad. Also, Plup was playing like a god, but he had to go against Hungry Box. Sorry, Plup. That happened, and then Smash 4, Zero got 4th. Kind of disappointing for him. I know 4th's still good out of probably 200 people entered most likely. So it's probably still good for 4th, but we expect him to get 1st. All that fun stuff.
What's crazy about Zero is who the hell is Mars? He's
Yeah.
not someone who we've seen very much of, which is what's interesting about Smash for Wii U. When you have a young game like this, almost anyone can run up, and you can tell he's like, if he can have another tournament run, he's gonna have a sponsor soon.
We hope so. I mean, it would be awesome just to see that scene grow a little bit more, just like the Melee scene is growing. Shout out to the fans doing the TSM chant for Leffen at the tournament also. If you guys happen to listen to that, I heard you guys start chanting that out during the Hungry Box set versus Team Liquid. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, there would be awesome to see more money obviously thrown into that scene. See both of the scenes grow since Melee is already kind of taking over. I think overall Big House 7, great tournament. On the Melee side, awesome to see all 4, 5, I don't know. Yeah, all 5 gods there. Weird, by the way, Armada got 4th for any Super Melee heads out there. That's really big. Mango didn't even make, I think, Mango made top 8, but the 1 and 2 was Hungry Box, Plup, and then Leffen. So there is mix-ups being happened in the Melee world, so it's fun to watch at the end of the year. Next big tournament is Summit. Summit. mark that on your calendars. November 2nd. I have most likely for. Let me check the calendar real quick. For all you Melee heads out there, you know Summit has a special thing at the end of the night, and I will have a fun little giveaway for that tournament when that weekend happens.
A
So
giveaway.
I will talk more about that when the tournament comes and happens. I mean, when it gets closer. No, we don't. We don't do giveaways.
Oh, that's true. About? Yeah, so I shouldn't comment on the video.
Never.
No,
comment
okay.
on the video.
Okay. Just making sure that I definitely am not entering into a giveaway.
You can also smash the like button with your face too. That'd be entertaining. Take your mouse and just insert face on the mouse on top of the like button. That's how you smash it. That'd be great.
Yeah. Cool. And then Jeff, were you looking at Zero this weekend?
It's been a super busy weekend with Worlds and things like that, so I haven't had a chance to watch the VODs yet, but what's interesting about it is, once again, losing to Mars. This is a player that we haven't really seen very much of, and it's crazy that we're just playing a game right now where basically it doesn't matter if you have a sponsorship or not, or if you're on a team or not, you can win still. And I feel like it's because of how early we are in competitive Smash 4.
Right.
And it's only going to get more interesting before it gets more serious, I guess.
Yeah. So here's a question that I posed to Chris earlier, and I'd love to hear both of your opinions on this. But with these tournaments, you've got your singles and then you've got your doubles. And my question was, doubles is regarded as less prestigious. If you win a doubles tournament, that's not as prestigious as winning, say, a singles tournament, obviously.
Right.
Is that going to change? Do you think, I feel like we have an esports scene right now that is so, that wants to be team-oriented. Every game out there is team-oriented. I mean, you've got your Smash and your fighter games like that, which are very much the solo v solo, but you think about it, League is still just a huge esport. You've got, just looking at the ones that TSM has, League, Vainglory, PUBG, all of these, even Overwatch and Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, all of that. So do you think that the doubles aspect of Smash, maybe not Melee as much, because that seems a little bit more set in stone, but definitely Smash 4, do you think that the doubles scene will become, I guess, more prestigious, if you catch what I mean? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I think Melee still has a chance for doubles to get a little bigger. One thing that you always hear, especially these duos like Pew Pew and SFAT, whenever they're talking about doubles, obviously they're very good at doubles, so they want to emphasize it more. But they're always saying that there's a lot of potential in doubles and things like that, and with how high level it can get. So in Melee, I think it can still happen, but I'm not sure if it will. As for Smash 4, once again, it's a young game. It's hard to say what's going to blow up in a year, you know what I mean?
Right.
Doubles totally has potential to be good, and I'm a firm believer that one really hype set is enough to blow up any game. So I think it depends on how high quality of a set we can get between these really high level doubles teams.
Right.
So,
Chris?
Comparing, if I had to make comparisons of, because I kind of look like esports as the beginnings of just how sports in general. So you have your major sports, right? Basketball, baseball, football, soccer, all that fun stuff, right? So
don't talk about soccer right now. I'm kidding. I lulled so hard. Anyways.
Those 4 major ones. Melee is going to be like tennis, or fighting games is going to be like tennis. They're going to have the followings, they're going to have the diehard fans, they're going to be good, and exactly like how it is in tennis, singles runs everything. Doubles is still good, and you're going to have your iconic duos. SFAT and Pew Pew U, Venus and Serena Williams. You're going to have your freaking little combos that you're going to see the sparks of holy shit, they're really good, or holy shit, this is awesome for doubles or whatever and whatnot. but it's still not going to have the same spark as, you know, an Armada versus Mango set, or a Leffen versus Hungry Box, or Plup versus Mango, or Mango versus Leffen. You won't have that same 1 versus 1 type of duel where there's not somebody else or, you know, some other aspect of the game that can jump into it like doubles. I think doubles can get bigger, yes. Will it get ever bigger than singles? No. Will it be ever as hype as singles? No. The best comparison I can say is tennis. It's going to be the same exact type. Melee and fighting games are going to be the same exact type as tennis is right now.
Here's a question. With the amount of like edge guarding and how important it is to keep mid priority in Smash 4, I know that those sets can sometimes get really drawn out, and doubles, it's a lot more chaotic. And yes, it's still about controlling the center, but it's not. I mean, there's not as much. It's harder to do that because it's 2v2. Do you think that would kind of lend itself to doubles growing better in Smash 4?
I don't know. For me, I don't think it ever will because of just the, not really like psychology, but the background of a fighting game. When you think of a fighting game, you think 1 versus 1. And when you throw duos into it, you kind of throw into, well, you know, well then what's the point of a fighting game? Shouldn't it be just, you know, like, well, your partner could be better than you? Or, you know, the classic Ice and Leffen combo in Melee. If you watch Ice and Leffen, you're like, you know who really backpacks the team. Ice is good, but if Leffen's not on point, they're not going to win. So, unless you... It just doesn't feel as satisfying as watching a solid set when it's 1 versus 1. You know, a 5-game set of doubles is cool, fun to watch, sweet, but it's not going to be as fun as watching, you know, a 5-game set versus Leffen versus Hungry Box. I think it kind of carries, the doubles kind of carries the same way, like when LCK used to do, what is it, the final game blind pick. It's fun. You're right. It's fun to watch, but you know it's kind of still janky a little bit.
Most hype play to ever come out of League of Legends.
Oh my God! Sorry, Ryu.
Sorry, Ryu.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. It's just interesting to think about, and obviously we're at a pretty young age for esports, and it's just kind of fun to watch, see how these scenes develop, and how they grow. Speaking of a developing, maybe, hopefully, scene, Vainglory this week, TSM, the Vainglory squad, was out and about in week 3, I want to say. Yeah, week 3 of the autumn split, or however they call it. I still haven't gotten names down of like how they like name the weeks and the matches and stuff like that, but I know who won. And they start with a T and end with an SM. That was horrible. I'm never doing that again. TSM actually won out this weekend without dropping a single match. So this is all best of 3s. If you remember, they start with 8 teams, then top 4, then the top 2. TSM beat out Gankstars, which is one of the lowest rated teams. They have 0 points this in the first 3 weeks. Beat them 2-0. Then they played Cloud9, who's atop the bracket in North America right now. So atop the table in North America, and beat them 2-0. And then they turned around and beat the second place team in North America 2-0. So for maybe they're listening to our podcast and they listen to all the flack that Brad and I have been giving them, but they looked really good. And I really want to shout out to I guess all of the guys. Von C and Best Chuck really carried hard, and they had some just smashing games. Like even in the finals game against, you would think the finals should be the most competitive. Even in the finals game, you had game 1 where Best Chuck was 9-2-1, and then game 2 where Best Chuck was 9-0-6 and Von C was 7-0-6. In both games, Flash X had over 10 KD. He had a perfect 0-0-13 in game 2 of the finals. It's just like this team, for some reason, decided to turn on this week, and they looked again like the most dominant Vainglory team maybe in the world, like they have been in the past. And it's interesting because it's like, how do you even read this team? Not just as a fan, but how do you read this team as, as another team trying to play against them? Because some weeks, I mean, last week they lost to Nova, and I was actually really hoping that they'd get the rematch against Nova this week so we could see kind of like how much better they were playing, but they got C9 instead. Oh well, they still smashed them 2-0. Yeah, it's just been kind of a roller coaster, and right now they're on an upward spike, which is good. Now they have, I believe they have 1 week off, and then they've got 4 more weeks of games. So they still have time to make it atop the table, and yeah, they're looking like they're on an upswing right now. Huge shout out to FlashX, because it seems like, you can always look at the carries and their score line, but it's the guy making shot calls is doing a good job. So huge shout out to FlashX, really picking up the slack that we've seen him being dropping the past 2 weeks. So Vainglory looking good. I'm excited, and if they hopefully as they keep moving up, hopefully if they keep playing like this, I know Brad and I will go more in depth into their games as we get further on into their season, games that matter more. But definitely a huge week for them. If you want to go back and watch the VODs, you can definitely you can do that. This again is a great week. So we're gonna transition from a great week to the opposite of that. This week PUBG had, so this was week 4 of the APL. That's what I'm going to call it now. From now on, I'm never going to mess up this name.
Damn.
APL.
That's my favorite part of the whole episodes every week. Just watching you.
Do you want me to try to say it?
No, you just ruined it. No.
APL. Okay, all right. I'm not even going to do it. They progressively got better every game, but they went 13th, 11th, and 6th, and that they got not many kills this week. I think in total, let me look this up right now. I think Break was the only one on their team who got kills. Yeah, Break ended up getting 4 kills this weekend. 3 of them came in round 2. 1 of them came in round 3, and it just was not a good showing, and they dropped to 18th overall. So yeah, it was a rough week for PUBG. Chris, you wanna let us know what's going on with PUBG?
Yeah. Sorry. Jeff was frozen there for a second in a nice little pose there for about like 3 minutes.
Thinking
he was contemplating exactly what the fuck was going on with our PUBG team. Just like what I was wondering when I was watching the VODs this week. So first of all, I gotta get this out of the way. Shout out to the PUBG cast. They added this week a cool little draw feature, so they could actually show, what a team could possibly do when approaching a building, and they could show like the different routes and draw out fucking little arrows and stuff. And yeah, it might not be that big of a deal and be like, but Chris, you can do that so easily. You know what? They were struggling there for a couple weeks, and this is making it more fan friendly for people that want to. The people out there that are watching this podcast go, but Chris, what's PUBG? Well, you guess what? For you people that said you don't know what PUBG is, but then make fun of me because, oh, it's so easy to do that stuff on video. There you go. It's for you guys because you're gonna watch the thing and go, wow, that is really nice to actually have the
TSM
arrows.
fans never do that.
Whatever. I see your guys' comments. Don't you lie to me. I know the trolls. I know you trolls out there. I live in troll land. I love that shit. I know you guys. I know you guys too well.
He knows you intimately.
The only way to know the troll is to be the troll.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
You must live in that. Yeah. All right.
Overall, the troll is the deadliest. All right. Going home.
Overall, there's a meta going on. I'm going through that. By the way, if there's somebody in the comments that can do a cringe meter with Josh and just give me a count of how many cringy comments he makes or cringy jokes in an episode, there might be repercussions coming your way. Just let me know your tag in league, and there might be a little bit of I want a cringe counter meter every episode. That'd be awesome.
I'm just gonna sit here like not caring for the rest of the episode. Thanks.
It's because Brad's not here. There's no one else to
Yeah, I know.
to even you out. It's okay.
I have to soak up all the cringe.
Fucking
to beat the cringe. Okay,
cringe.
I'm gonna stop.
Keep that, please. We're I've been thinking at least 10 by this episode alone.
Hey, so the PUBG team, they went 13th, 11th, and 6th.
Yeah,
what?
So back to the PUBG team. There is a meta evolving. If you're gonna watch PUBG right now, know that there's gonna be circles where they zoom out, and you're gonna see teams camped in buildings at this point. There is strategies. TSM got screwed by one in the first game by Kingwin. Shout out to them. TSM was in a building. Kingwin shot out the windows and fragged the inside going in to cause chaos into the building, which I would love to see more of, because there was a point where they drew out the map and probably 3/4 of the teams in the map were all camping in buildings. There was a point where there was 2 teams in one building. 2 teams in one building. That's when I was like, okay, you guys both have guns. At that point, just say fuck it. All right, I know points are cool and all, but come on, guys, just go for broke. Just go fucking shoot each other. I know you guys can hear each other. Quit being little bitches. I'm gonna say, just quit being little bitches. Man up. You lose a couple points, you lose a fucking couple points. It's a video game, for fuck's sakes. I want to see some death. I want to see some bloodshed. Yeah, I just want to see some bloodshed. But
I don't know. Here's the question though: is that? I mean, it's a difficult thing to address as a game developer. And I don't think you can actually just tell the pros to not care about their points, because at this point, it's part of their livelihood. I mean, not completely, because PUBG is still small, but dude, I know you don't care. But still, don't you think that this is something like how would you make this strat not as viable? Would you make like grenades more effective, or
as fans we start calling it out? There's a reason why there's like, okay, I know I keep bringing Melee up, I know this, but there's a reason why people call Mango a god. It's not because he sat back on the ledge like M2K and wanted to ledge guard 90% of the time and do everything technical. It was because Mango did shit that people went, how the hell did that work? And that was an amazingly aggressive move. Like the shine spike off stage, that's a Mango move. Like that's or calling people, like, spot dodging people, that's a fucking Mango move. Or what is it? You never double laser on the edge, but Mango does it all the damn time. There's a whole meme about don't double laser on the edge. You never double laser on the edge. Then I guess, I mean, that's one way as fans of, like, us doing this podcast, and me going, that's kind of bullshit, And I know TSM does it. I know that. I watched Break freaking camp and get like 6 kills in a building one tournament. I know. I get it. And there's people. That's why I appreciate Team Kingwin. Even though they killed TSM in the first game, that was a 6 strat. They went around the building. They threw the grenades in there. I don't know if they shot out the windows or if TSM shot out first. I'm not 100% sure about that one. But they fragged the grenade. They fragged the house. They killed everyone in TSM. Congratulations to them. If more teams start doing that, but if that would be awesome. I just don't want to see 2 teams camping in the same building and no team going, you know what? I'm just going to go kill these guys because that's part of the game. Why are they just going to sit there and play patty cake with each other at that point? Man up. Come on. Like, you're in a video game. If you die, you die. Cool. But, I mean, if you're part of the thing... What?
They need to make the houses destructible.
There is destructible houses.
I was having that thought.
No, because if you play Fortnite and they have rockets where you can destroy the house, it gets fucking ridiculous. And whoever's played Fortnite and played PUBG, don't you lie to yourself. You know Fortnite's exactly like PUBG, and you know they're gonna get sued and that game's getting taken down. Don't you lie to yourself.
Anyway, yeah. So, aside from that meta that's developing, how did our PUBG team do this week? Like, it's just a break show.
Well, Break's gonna be, I think, from here on out, Break's gonna be the most consistent player, just because his spray is the best. Like, Break's known for his awesome control of his spray, and he's gonna be the one that's fragging the most and taking the points and all that fun stuff. They honestly, I don't think that this week's losses was strictly because they played like shit. I think everyone's getting better. I think now TSM's going, or everyone like probably like you get to majority of the teams and probably 3/4 of the field, unless they're getting screwed out of the circle right off the bat, are staying in and probably to like the 4th or the 5th final circle, like 3/4 of the teams are. So people are just genuinely getting better. Does that make sense? Like probably calling out shots. You know, every week they're figuring out what person's going to be doing what and where's going to be watching where. So like, you know, and this week too, Smack wasn't there. Halifax was in there, or maybe was it AIM? I don't remember, but I remember Halifax was playing this week. So that also can be an issue because he's not in there every week, and he might not know the calls. Who really knows? Is Reggie going to sign Halifax? Is he going to be the next TSM sub? Who knows? Sure looking like it though. Yeah, in league. Yeah. But it's sure looking like it. Besides that, I personally think PUBG's in a cool spot where the streams are getting better. I like this 4-lobby system. I think we're going to start seeing teams float to the top, and we're going to start seeing more consistent players up there. And shout out to Dignitas for jumping in the scene this week or last week. I don't remember exactly when the news was announced, but kudos to the big org starting to jump in. And kudos to IEM Oakland. I didn't realize IEM Oakland was actually so close. I thought it was like next year, like 2018, like maybe January. I didn't realize in October if it was. If I was more aware of it, if I was paying attention more, I would have gone down there because I'm only like probably like a 5-hour plane right away, not even that. But I definitely would have tried to go down there since PUBG's gonna be playing. Love to see the guys. Maybe check it out and see how that rolled out. But that's also another big tournament happening, which is kind of cool to see that IEM. Please, IEM, don't fail us like you normally do. I know I should probably not, you know, set the bar too high.
Man, have faith. Have faith.
It's hard to have faith in ESL.
No. I'm not gonna have faith in this. There's no reason to have faith in IEM.
These guys were making fun of me earlier because I said that Fenerbahce wasn't gonna win a game, and they said have faith.
Yeah.
I think Fenerbahce is better than ESL.
I think Fenerbahce is better than ESL too. Yeah.
Wait.
I think so also.
Okay, apples and oranges.
Yeah. I don't care. I just think But yeah, so Oakland's coming out.
I think Fenerbahce is better than United Airlines.
Hey, they are.
Well, that's probably true.
I have a question, Chris. Do you think that this is the lowest that TSM goes?
No, not even close.
No?
This game is way too unpredictable. The circle, the RNG circle is a pretty big part. It's going to be a hurdle and or a problem that needs to be addressed depending on how the game developers want to deal with that problem after release. I think they're going to go release first and then deal with that. I honestly wanted to see it become more of a hurdle than a problem. I want to see how the teams learn how to react to certain circles, or in professional play, they possibly find out a way where there's a certain line of circles, if that makes sense. So teams have to map out, let's say, they know there's going to be 5 set of circles that are going to be in a line or whatever, if they know where the plane's going to go. Does that make sense? If they see that thing, there's 5 different circles, so they just have to plan out different strategies. So then they kind of have an idea what they want to do, but then they're still the unknown, because that RNG of the circle still is kind of fun when you're like, well, that team's fucked that decided to go to, I don't know, Multipower on the corner of the map. Then the thing's up by a George Pool. Well, that team's kind of fucked, or they're gonna have to start trekking it. Like that's kind of fun. But unless they take a little bit more of the randomness out, I think that could be more of a problem than a hurdle. But that's down the line. But yeah. I don't think TSM drop. I think TSM can drop even. Knock on wood, this doesn't happen, but I could see them dropping into the low 20% of this, just because of it's still up in the air. We really don't know. They're still adding guns to the game, for fuck's sake. Like, you know. Yeah. At least they didn't go back and forth from third person to first person, because that could be a huge big issue. Then you can just basically throw it up in the air and go, I don't know, this team's going to win, or it's basically a flip of the coin each week, because who knows, practicing more third person or first person, but at least they did that across the board. But until they start evening it out, yeah, TSM could go as low as bottom 20%, and they could be number one. It just depends on how some of the RNG goes.
Yeah, and answering kind of like the idea of circle, like I feel like fixing or quote unquote fixing the circle is such a difficult thing to do because I think that's part of the game is the RNG nature of the circle. And if you're in the dead center of the circle, you'll be inside the next circle. So at least there's that much consistency. I think something that you can start to see is because if you're on Spawn Island, you can already look out and see where the plane is sometimes if it's close to you. I think they should just give teams which path the plane's going to fly on and let the teams have like a 3-minute prep time where they have access to the map where they can drop like markers and stuff like that so that teams can like plan out what they're going to do, have 3 minutes where they can say, all right, the plane is going here, we're going to jump right here and we're going to go here, and if there's a lot of people dropping there, then that's going to give us enough time to turn off and go to this place. I think
like a pick ban phase.
Right. It's kind of like a pick bans phase, and I think that would add strategic elements to the game without altering the game in any way. And then you have time to say, okay, we're gonna go to this corner, and we know the circle might not be there, but the outcome, and you kind of have that already. I just feel like the teams don't have enough time to make huge strategic calls on the fly just because of the nature of how quick the game. Now you could say the game isn't that quick, but sometimes if all you're doing is just traveling straight towards the circle the entire game, there's no room for decision making because you just have to drive. And I think if you can make all those decisions like, hey, if we are in a corner and the circle spawns on the other side, what is our goal? How are we going to approach the circle? How much time are we going to spend looting? And yeah, I think that would be that'd be interesting. The other thing would be seeing if you could see the first circle before, and this is where like changing the circle mechanics would really, I think, hurt the game, because if you could see the circle before you got on the plane, the first circle, even if they made a slightly larger first circle and showed that and the flight path of the plane.
Yeah. That's what I was saying, like, there's, like, let's say they make the circle larger, so there's only, let's say, 5 circles that can possibly incorporate the map and, like, the whole thing, and they go, there's the flight path, and since knowing that flight path, does that make sense? So you give your same thing. They know, okay, with that flight path, there's possible these 5 circles, this is going to be the first one. And then from there, it's completely RNG because then it's kind of in a more isolated area or whatever. So, right. But they get that first 5 and they can go, okay, well, if it's this one, then we have this strategy. If this one's this strategy, if this one's this strategy, just remember, just go through our calls, blah blah this and blah blah that, and after we land, we'll see where the first circle lies, and then we go from there. But at least they have that little bit of information.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see like a however long prep period before the game, where teams have access to the map and can just plan out stuff, because all of that right now is all based on prior games. Mm-hmm. And just, okay, we've had a plane go this way, or they have like we're always going to jump George. It doesn't matter what's going on. We're going to jump George because there's the best chance of getting loot for the team there. And yeah, you can still have that, but if you know where the plane is going, anyway, that's kind of beating a dead horse. But I think there's definitely improvements that can be made by the developer that could make this game even more competitive. So yeah, it'll be interesting to track that. All right, we are moving on now. I think there's a tournament going on over in China. Oh wait, there is a tournament.
My sleep schedule.
Oh my gosh! For those of you,
I'm at 2:30 every day.
Yeah,
I watched them all, dude.
I watched all of the TSM games live. I watched the rest in VODs because
all days. I watched all 4 days in a row.
Yes,
I tried to. There were games that I had to miss.
Yeah,
like at the ends of days and stuff.
My whole day just went like this. I just slept during the day, and I was just up there.
I can't do that. So. Anyway, So this week we're going to talk about TSM's first week at Worlds. For those of you who didn't watch or something, spoiler alert, they went 2-1. They beat Flash Wolves, they beat WE, and they dropped their first game to Misfits. That was the last game of the week, of the weekend. So let's start with a Flash Wolves game. So if you guys watched the Flash Wolves game, this was on the second day of competition. This was a long, grueling match in which it was, I think, like a 50. Yeah, it was like a 50. It was a 54-minute game.
It had the play of the tournament. I'm calling it right now.
Play of the tournament from a boy Hansa. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. I would assume. So, pretty much what happened here is with the drafting of so Flash Wolves took Tarek, Cho'Gath, and Sejuani, and that gives them a ton of mid-game power just because when the Sejuani has her ult and she's with the Tarek, if the support and jungler are roaming together, the amount of lockdown you have is about like 4 seconds, I want to say. It might be like 3 seconds. It's just an obscene amount of lockdown. The only thing is you get outscaled because the Tarek ult loses its usefulness a lot in the late game. You know,
especially against tanks.
Right. 1 or 2 seconds of invulnerability in the early game is huge, but in the late game, when everyone has tons of items and stuff like that, and a single spell can do half someone's health bar, then the 2 seconds of invulnerability doesn't really matter as much. So Flash Wolves got up to about a 5.5 K gold lead, but then the game kind of just turned around. They started just losing objectives to TSM, and they kind of just lost control of the game. So what are you guys' thoughts and reactions on the Flash Wolves game?
One thing that I noticed is that TSM played super well around Tarek. They were so good at timing their initiation, about being able to peel Flash Wolves off until Tarek ult ended, and then forcing initiations directly afterwards when they've already used all their cooldowns. When Flash Wolves used all their cooldowns, that is. And what that did is just create a perfect scenario for Doublelift and Bjergsen to just dish out their damage after Haunter's engages.
Yeah, I thought, and I think this has been kind of the story of this tournament. Even though WE went on and won 2 more games, is Betty he's been the weak spot of WE, and I think that's what we were saying coming into this. And Flash Wolves, that's what I said. Oh, never mind. Flash Wolves. Why did I say WE, and why did I say that they won 2 more games? I'm literally looking at the match details right now.
It's okay, buddy.
I'm sorry, guys. All right, so Flash Wolves lost all 3 games, and I think a lot of that blame rests on Betty. I mean, the TSM game, even though TSM brought the gold lead back, they then threw again, and lost most of their base. And then around Elder Drake, TSM was posturing around Elder Drake, and Flash Wolves starts running away back to their base, and Betty takes a different path than the rest of his team. Doublelift jumps on that opportunity so hard. Rocket jump, flash. It was really awesome to see, and just kind of hunts Betty down, and the rest of Flash Wolves now without an ADC, and that was his first and only death that game for Betty. Without an ADC, yes, they had Corki, but they couldn't hold 4v5 against TSM in the ensuing fight. TSM wins and goes wins the game. It was still close. Maple was going in for the back door, trying to get it on Corki. That was making my heart aflutter. But that was so. Yeah, Chris, what were your thoughts on the Flash Wolves game?
Thank God Doublelift wasn't the one to get caught this time. Right? That was when I saw that, I was like, that's funny how the tables have turned. How many times he finally got. I mean, he got caught how many years and how many times, and finally he's not the ADC to get caught. Shout out to Hanser.
Huge shout out.
He was an animal. I mean, I'm going to hopefully he continues this performance. and I mean this type of performance throughout the rest of the tournament. I would love to hear if he does continue this. Mr. Thorne's comments about our boy Haunster, I would love to go back and forth with this. Also, I think this game was the most important out of all the rest of the three. Probably some of you guys are going to disagree and be like, Misfits, which is fine. Glad to have your opinion. But this is my opinion, so let me say this. That I think that them getting over this hump and going, okay, Flash Wolves has bugged us for how many international tournaments? We beat them. It was good. It was good for the team to kind of just, get over the whole world's hump, jumping in and people kind of going, we don't know if TSM's going to be good because last year we hyped them up so well. You see the relief in their eyes after they get done, you're just like...
Double his hands.
Yeah.
Double his hands were like shaking.
Exactly. Everyone talk about his hands shaking. It's like, there's something about that that's good, and where I think, spoiler, it's them losing the Misfits in the third game. Questionable builds, them trying different things. I think if this game would have went differently at any time because of the gold lead switching so much, if the Flash Wolves win this, let's say they beat WE, and I mean they lose this game and they beat WE and they still lose the Misfits again, they're 1-2, and that makes them look so much worse. The mentality's different. This winning this first game makes them 2-1. Losing the Misfits, them able to try different builds, more relaxed, and them going into week 3 with the destiny in their hands. If they win these games, week 2, sorry, they go into week 2, and the destiny's in their hands. They can take control. Hope to God there's no fucking tiebreakers.
Yeah, I think this match killed Flash Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
They looked so deflated after this, and they went into every game just not quite putting it together. This win also looked really impressive when it first got done, but I think looked less and less impressive as we saw how just trash Flash Wolves was. But I think Flash Wolves is a team that could turn it around. Karsa and Maple are strong enough as a mid jungle duo that if they have as big of a mid game again like they did against TSM, I think at least 5 out of 10 games they close that out, and I don't think those are odds that you won as TSM. So TSM needs to be very careful when they play Flash Wolves next time and not give them as huge of a lead.
Experience is huge too, and I think that the experience of a team like Flash Wolves that they have is just like they can take a game off anyone in the world. Even though they went 0-3, they can still be like they've beaten SKT, and every single time that they've played against, like had an opportunity to play against them in every tournament, they've beaten them like once, I think.
Right.
So this is a team that can take on any team in the world. Going 0-3 doesn't mean that they're bad.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw on the League subreddit, shout out to Adam Pierce, who is, I believe he does data design for a news organization, but I'm not 100% sure. But every year, and for MSI and stuff like that, he puts out a kind of like a graph, like chart thing that's it's called the 2017 World's Group Advancement. Pretty cool. It shows you every single possibility for every single team. And you can click through who you think is going to win each game, and it will kind of show you the scenarios of who can get in, who can get out. And here's the thing: Flash Wolves cannot auto qualify for knockout stages. They can only get into a tiebreaker scenario. Here's the thing: if Flash Wolves 3-0s this week, then they are automatically guaranteed a tiebreak game. So they have to win 4 games in a row to advance. I'm not counting it out. I say it's highly unlikely though. And that's, I mean, each team beating them puts another nail in their coffin. It's Worlds, baby. And here's the other funny thing is TSM, their last game this next week is against Flash Wolves. So if Flash Wolves is 2-0 and then they go into TSM, TSM's the gatekeeper, keeping Flash Wolves out of contention. Now, let's move on to game 2, which was a much more decisive win. And let's see, we had Double Lift and Bjergsen on Tristana Corki, so we were running the double AD comp. Bio was on Rakan, and
It's the last time he's gonna get Rakan this tournament.
Yeah.
yeah, it's the last
100%.
time he's getting Rakan.
Yeah.
He shouldn't
And
have gotten in the first place.
Yeah.
right.
Why
And
they
instead
even
of
let him?
playing against a Cho'Gath, they drafted a Cho'Gath, and they were playing against, again, the Sejuani Taric and the Shen this time. Sejuani, and now there's a bunch of people who I've talked to who are like, no, Sejuani's like, she's a really high priority jungler this tournament. And I understand that she's high priority, but at the same time, no. Why?
Yeah, I
She's,
don't like her.
I think, 13 games. I
Yeah.
could be wrong on that
Two-
number.
I remember
She's
2
won
wins.
2 of 13 games, usually against Gragas. And I'm just wondering, is there not a better champion? I understand she has such a powerful mid lane or mid game with the enemy team having to play around her ultimate. She's got huge gank potential. She clears the jungle pretty fast because of her permafrost or whatever the stun thing is. Tanky, like engage, tanky, disengage if you need it. Like she's got it all, but her win rate just isn't there. J4 has beaten her. Gragas has beaten her.
Is Rek'Sai?
Like it just, I believe I don't know if there's been a
if anybody's gonna replace her in the jungle, I would assume it's gonna be Rek'Sai, because her kit's gonna be the closest. But I don't know.
here. I'm bringing it up right now. So it's 3 wins. Let me make sure this is World Championship 2017. It's 3 wins. 1 against Rek'Sai, 1 against Gragas, 2 against Gragas.
Well,
So
she
3
plays
wins.
Gragas every game. Plays
3
against her.
wins out of 12.
Ooh,
So that's just.
that's not good.
I feel like I'm reading this wrong. No, yeah, 3 out of 12. So 25% win rate. I just and this will, kind of this discussion will bring us into game 3. All I've got to say about TSM in this game, they played a really close early game. The gold at 20 minutes was they were ahead 312 gold. The most they had been ahead in the early game was 1K, and they just played really, really well around objectives. Again, Rakan, Biofrost and Rakan doing really well. He had 90 something or maybe like 89% kill participation, 7 out of 8 kills. He was in on. Svenskeren was in on 7 out of 8 kills. Bjergsen was in all 8, 4 and 4. Like, they're just really good team play by TSM. Pretty much it came down. They won a massive team fight at the end of the game after they were about 5,000 gold ahead. End of the game immediately. They looked like they had WE's number, and I hope that this comes through again. In their second game against WE, I hope that they can play this aggressive style and, well, I mean, scaling, but then into like just play to their team fighting strengths. That's something that we've seen them do really well. And that's what something I was commenting on, how GA is a really good team fighter, and that's, I mean, he was completely neutralized. He even got the game was kind of in the balance, and then Bjergsen got a kill on GA, a solo kill on GA mid, and that game was pretty much over at that point.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys' thoughts on the WE match?
Just like, no. I think it's gonna be the last. I don't know if everybody heard me say that earlier, but this is gonna be the last game that you see Biofrost on Rakan. I don't think he's gonna get that again. Shouts out to Svenskeren for not actually doing it. He does well every game. I know Josh just might go on a little rant because for some weird reason, Josh just really likes Kelsey Moser articles because Kelsey, for some weird reason, just likes to
Is a good writer.
Whatever. Yeah, something like that, I guess. But I mean, Sven did his job because the rest of the lanes were winning. The end of the game kind of show you how dominant Bjergsen was in the mid lane. He was up 2.6k gold at the end of the game. So he was up a full item on GA. So any team fight at that point, he was going to 1v1 him and possibly another guy on top of it because he was playing Corki. So he's got a lot of good, AoE damage with his Gatling gun and doing all that fun stuff with his Phosphor Bomb. So good shout out to Double It for not dying again. He had the number of Mystic. They did the interview where he kind of called out Mystic and was like, I think I'm better than him. And I was like, probably. So I think this is gonna go through for the most part. We're gonna beat Team WE next week. We're gonna beat them. Misfits game though, that's where I'm gonna have a little bit more have to say about that one.
I have 3 comments on this game personally.
Go for it.
First one, Doublelift really showed his dominance because they W put a lot of resources into bottom lane and forced him off tower. And even though he was out CS'd in lane because of it, he still had much larger impact on the game than Mystics. So from a low resource setting, he crushed. Mm-hmm. Second of all, we saw the difference between top laners really, really hard.
Yes.
Shen missing the taunt combo on the teleporting Cho'Gath is hilarious. And then Cho'Gath being able to interrupt, I think, the Shen one is just like, that's standard. So I think we really saw the difference in top laners very hard. Third of all, there are rumors that EDG is leaking WE's strategies to teams and also RNG strategies to teams. I don't think this is true because most teams are playing the same shit. Most teams are playing... In fact, every single team besides like GAM is playing Ardent Sensor support. Yeah, and Longzhu.
Shout out to
Ardent Sensor support. Hell yeah, that was fucking sick. I was so happy with that. The Kane.
Literal dog champ. Sorry, anyways, keep going.
I said Ardent Sensor support like 5 times, so that's
how many. That's about how many times they said on the cast.
Mm-hmm.
That was okay. If you guys didn't see in the league Reddit, there was a video that was somebody. I think it was during the play-ins. It was every single time that the casters said Ardent Sensor in the play-ins, just like a supercut, and it was like 7 minutes long. It was so funny. They say it so often. Or maybe it might have just been like day one. How many times they said it? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, they're playing Ardent Sensor supports. They're playing tank top laners, tank junglers, and then they're playing really late game AD carries. And mid lane has had some variants, but there's a lot of Ryze, a lot of Corki. Every team is playing this almost. The only teams that are breaking away from it are like C9, who's playing carry junglers. We're seeing GAM play whatever the hell they want. And we're seeing Longzhu and a little bit of TSM playing really aggressive top laners with Gnar and Immortals with Jace as well. So I really don't see EDG leaking strats, and even if they are, I don't see the strats differing enough for it to be a giant difference.
Yeah, and if they are, that is the end. Like, honestly, if EDG
Dude, fuck EDG if they are.
That is literally the end of EDG, because with this Worlds performance that they've had, if they're also leaking strats of other teams, like, there goes your entire fan base. The teams that still stuck with you, even though you were losing, now should hate your guts. So, but who knows? We don't know if that's true. Those are unsubstantiated facts.
I really don't think it is.
Well, speaking of leaking, no, that was bad.
I thought you were gonna do some really, really, really dirty joke there, but I'm just gonna keep that one to myself.
Yeah, you just keep that in. All right.
Involving Sneaky's catchphrase.
Something like that.
TSM then went into the last game against Misfits, and it's been called a lot of things. Some people said they played really cocky. Some people said they drafted really cocky. They essentially drafted a late scaling comp, but they compensated with some early pressure. So they put Hanser on Renekton. They put Svenskeren on that mid booming Sejuani. And then they had Bjergsen on Syndra, which is, I mean, she plays really well into the late game. She has a really good mid game as well. Doublelift on Kog'Maw, who has to play for the late game. And then Biofrost on Nami. This draft was a really strange draft. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this draft. My initial take is, and kind of what I was saying before, I don't understand the teams at Worlds and their priority on Sejuani. I understand it's a champion that can match up to Gragas in the early game, but I feel like there's just so many other champions that are um that can do more, because like Sejuani can have. I mean, we saw it in the Flash Wolves game. Huge presence in the early game, huge presence in the mid game. Great, great control around objectives and great just kind of zone control. But we haven't seen the wins coming through, and teams are playing really well around Sejuani. Is this a pick that you see falling off week
Yes.
2, and what takes its place?
I have a couple ideas of what I think would be good. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think we're going to start seeing.
Don't you say Nidalee.
Okay, I'll say Arden Sensor junglers, and then tank supports. I think that's not a terrible idea. I feel like we can get like Ivern in the jungle and stuff like that, and then that'll allow stuff like Alistair. But
Yeah.
This draft specifically, while normally 9 times out of 10 I like Bjergsen and Syndra, this game I really don't, because it's into Shen, Gragas, Xayah, Janna. The only kill target that he reliably has in this entire comp is LeBlanc, and LeBlanc is so mobile that it's not easy to do.
And I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'd have to go back and watch, but it seemed like he didn't hit a single stun on Power of Evil.
Yeah,
Like Power
not
of
only
Evil
that,
always had to distort up. No. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Not only that, he's ulting Shen and Gragas a lot in that game.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I noticed, which, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst decision. I think one of the best things you can do in team fights is ult them first and then get a Scatter the Weak with a lot of orbs out. But I think the pick in general doesn't function super well into that composition specifically. So then I have other problems with Kog'Maw
this game was
taking
just weird.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. And here's the thing: is I'm fine with Kog'Maw taking Cole. I really am. But you just have to completely change the way you're gonna play. If you're taking Cole, you're saying I'm forfeiting my lane and my lane pressure, and I'm going to scale up and I'm going to beat you in the late game. And the first thing that Doublelift does is he goes in solo to Misfits jungle where there's Gragas, Janna, and Xayah. Pretty much goes in there and tries to put some poke on Hans Sama so that you kind of like to win the game. And the thinking goes, Hans Sama doesn't have a healing support, he just has a shielding support, whereas Doublelift has a healing support. But then they go back to lane and get absolutely just bodied. They get poked out even more. Biofrost is running out of mana because he has
mana issues.
Yeah, because Nami has mana issues and he keeps having to heal Doublelift, and then that leads into a really, really easy like 4.5 minute gank by Maxlore. Like that's the easiest gank ever. You've got Gragas going into a Kog'Maw with like 200 health. Mm-hmm. And then the thing that makes me the most mad is it happens again. Literally 4 minutes later, the exact same thing happens where Doublelift is at like 200 health under tower and they dive him again, this time with Power of Evil. And it's just, you got to temper the way you play. You have to really not lose health, and you need to cold a stack, and you need to cash in so that you can get your Rage Blade faster, so you can be more of a threat. And that's just, they played a really poor...
And uncharacteristic.
Uncharacteristic. And that's draft decide. And I understand what Doublelift is doing. I understand putting poke on the Xayah, but you need he bought to play one way and then he played differently.
His usual way.
Right, and you really need to change the way that you play if you're going to do that. I think part of this is on the draft, and again, I just really don't like the Sejuani pick up, and I think I think the weirdest thing for me was the Varus ban.
Yeah, I don't think
Especially,
Varus is that good.
I think leaving Varus open um, is completely fine because you're either playing against a Zaya or a Varus, and you could have the other one, you know. So that could be, you could trade those, and you can ban the Janna. And the Janna is a huge counter to Sejuani and Renekton and
Syndra.
and Syndra. Like, it's just I don't understand if they were planning to go this direction, why they banned the Varus and not the Janna. So
Or the Zaya.
that's or the Zaya, honestly. And the other thing is they could have banned. I don't know why they didn't take Corki mid instead of LeBlanc. That's still a skill matchup, Corki into LeBlanc, and that gives Bjergsen more mobility against this team comp that, you've got a ton of mobility on the top half of the map with Gragas, Shen, and LeBlanc. Yeah, what were you guys' thoughts or any other thoughts on this game?
I enjoy the discussion of the junglers, but I think that Misfits has an interesting, not interesting, but I think we're going to see more of a meta develop this week of them banning out more of the supports and putting. That's why Sejuani and Gragas are going back and forth so much. Is that the pick and ban stage? I feel like right now is getting figured out, and I think the more interesting thing is with the supports. You ban Lulu, you ban Janna, you ban Rakan. After that, you get some mediocre supports, Ardent Censer supports, or do you go tank? And then that's when you start to figure out then, because right now it's all squishies. And if you kind of like what Jeff was saying earlier, that if you maybe change to, more tankier supports, or, maybe the Namis do come out, but I don't know. I think possibly maybe you can see Ole pull out a Morgana pick. I could see. Also, you can see. I would love to see a Sona pick. I think that would be thoroughly entertaining. She's super squishy. I know that. I don't think TSM will bring it out. Come on, Gigabyte Marines. I think that could
Here's
be
my
definitely a
question
thing.
though.
What?
Why don't with Corki so prevalent? Why don't you go Corki and you're scaling ADC and then put a Karma as your support?
Yeah, I mean that's
Karma
another
can
thing
work.
too. Is that Karma is definitely underutilized right now that no one's
I
really
agree.
thinking about. Why? Like I personally in this game, I would have rather had, now thinking about it, Biofrost on Karma than Nami.
Right, and that's another thing is like we've seen Biofrost on Karma quite a bit, and we've
Yeah,
seen him have
he's good
some
at that.
pretty standout games on Karma. And I mean, yes, it's not a healer. I understand that, so you lose out on that aspect, but you have shields. It doesn't have lockdown like the bubble. And here's the other thing is the thing that I didn't like about Bifrost Nami was when LeBlanc distorts forward, you just immediately throw a bubble at her. It forces her to blow a summoner to get out of the bubble or to snap back, thus kind of losing the pressure of her distort. And we didn't really see that. We saw Power of Evil having kind of like full reign of where he was going in the fights. And
when LeBlanc gets to do what she wants, she kills a whole team.
right. And I think if you take a Karma, you have to be less accurate and less mindful of where you're throwing spells, and you can just mantra shield and soak up tons of her damage, especially when her shatter orb shatters on an entire team. It gives you speed ups, which is great to get out of her chain. Like you can, as soon as she comes in, you can chain her as Karma and force her to go back pretty quickly. Like I don't see why. And again, maybe there's something I don't know about like Karma's bad luck or something like that, but I don't see why they take the Nami here. Why they, I see if they went Corki and Karma, I feel like this would have been a decent team. And also, guys, Cho'Gath went completely unpicked in this game, and they opted for the early game pressure. We saw We saw Hanser smash a Shen yesterday, or not
That's
yesterday, the
Cho'Gath.
day before, Cho'Gath into Shen. And yet they go Hanser to kind of like shore up their early game, which I don't think they needed to do. TSM, I think, especially against a team like Misfits, can play a safe enough early game if Doublelift doesn't, do what he was doing, getting down to 200 health and then sticking under tower. I think TSM can play a safe enough early game. You can get advantages in the Shen matchup with Cho'Gath. He went completely unpicked. If you go Cho'Gath, Corki, Karma, I think this team comp works out really, really well and becomes completely unkillable in the late game.
Scales a lot better, yeah.
I think we're all correct on this, but we forgot the one reasoning that they've been giving us all season. Maybe they were just trying different team comps for week 2, guys. They were
No,
Yeah,
I
just
don't buy
practicing.
that for a second.
They were just practicing for week 2.
No, you can't do that when it's Worlds time. Oh man.
That's some 3D chess right there. If Parth was doing that, that's some 3D.
Maybe. But maybe Nami just spikes in popularity next week.
I think Rek'Sai spikes in popularity. If Sejuani gets banned, Rek'Sai is going to go through the roof.
I wouldn't be surprised to see more carry junglers after how well C9 plays them.
Right, definitely. I think one bright shining star out of this entire week was Hanser. Every game, Hanser looked like the cornerstone of this TSM team. There's
looked like a world-class top laner. That's what he looked like.
Yeah.
A world-class top laner.
I only have one question. How is he going to do in this world of Korean top laners?
Yeah, how are people... I can't wait to hear how TSM fans defend how he's playing poorly in a world with so many Korean top laners. Now, okay, to be fair, there's no Korean top laners in this group, but he held this team together. He was the only person in all 3 games who was just having a standout performance out of standout. First game, Gnar, huge team fighting. Second game, Cho'Gath just dominates the laning phase and kind of just, catches 957 with his pants down a couple times. And then the last game, he was playing his heart out. That base defense, the 3v1 where he flashes on the LeBlanc to try to kill her. That was a little, I don't think he should have burned his flash there, but still, like, this guy, Hanser, is playing out of his mind. Yeah. And I think going forward, I don't see any problems with his mentality or the way that he's been playing, like any glaring issues. I think if Hanser plays the same level that he played this past week, TSM has a really serious chance of going 3-0. So I think that last game, really, a lot of that, the early game, was because of Doublelift, but they also made some pretty bad decisions throughout the... they got the gold lead back after 25 minutes, but they looked really uncharacteristically out of sync.
It looked like they were experimenting a lot.
No.
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see... Get that out of my lawn.
What do you think of putting Hanser on...
Tweet that. We were just practicing versus Misfits. Don't worry about it, guys. We're practicing team comps.
If they beat Misfits this next week, what were you gonna say, Jeff?
What do you think about putting Hanser on stuff like Jace?
No.
He's never performed on Jace.
Mm-hmm. I like him on Gnar. I like him on Rek'Sai. I like him in this meta right now. Every champion that's in this meta, he wins. Yeah.
I don't really like him on the Renekton as much as well, because Renekton falls off pretty hard, and Jace also falls off. And I think the way having a champion that falls off in the late game is not TSM style. That's just...
TSM,
and I think...
TSM
although we saw Flame Crush with it.
TSM Narskin.
I think that you've got a situation where you need to put Hanser on a playmaking, like a team fighter that does playmaking. I think a Shen is perfect for him. Gnar is perfect for him. Maokai.
Oh, another thing. Sorry. If Doublelift gets Tristana, we win.
Yeah, and I think I would like to see Doublelift on other champions. I want to see a redemption game on Kog'Maw. I'd be completely fine with him going on Kog'Maw again. I think he was put so far behind by the 2 kills the first 8 minutes on him that we didn't really get to see him start to, and a lot of misposition. I think his mentality was just really shaken after those first ganks. And yeah, I'd be fine seeing him on a Xayah. I'd be fine seeing him on a Kog'Maw, Tristana, whatever it is. So let's actually take a look real quick at this next week coming up. So they move from every team playing one game a day to every group playing all of their games on the same day. In fact, starting right now is a game. And if you're watching, then that was like 2 days ago. And TSM plays late Friday night, unless you're on the East Coast, then it's starting Saturday morning. Actually, timeout. Yeah, no. TSM plays for me also at 12 a.m. So that's starting Saturday morning. They start WE, then they go Misfits, then they go Flash Wolves, and I think that's actually they play in strength order. I think WE is the strongest opponent. Misfits, they had a very unrealistic game, and I think playing Bjergsen getting a better matchup, playing a better double lift, not being stupid, and that game looks a lot different. And then again, like I was saying before, they're the kind of the gatekeepers. If Flash Wolves goes 2-0, TSM is the one that keeps them out. However, here's the thing: if Flash Wolves goes 2-0, let me see.
Shout out to chat right now spamming Fnatic06. I know you guys aren't going to hear this, but if you're part of that and you're listening to this, good shit.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Fnatic06, I agree.
Yeah, TSM, if TSM beats WE or Flash Wolves, and Flash Wolves, yeah, we're getting too fringe of situations, so never mind. But yeah, it'll be an interesting week. What are you guys' thoughts on Group D going into week 2? Who do you think's gonna get what? Just run me down the group. What are the scores gonna be? Not at the end of the week, but just like 3-0, 2-1, 1-2. What do you think?
TSM 3-0, WE 2-1, Misfits 1-2, Flash Wolves 1-2.
No, it'd be 0-3.
What?
It would have to be 0-3 for Flash Wolves.
Why?
Unless you...
No, would it? Not if Misfits go 1-2, and Flash Wolves go 1-2, and WE goes 2-1, and TSM goes 3-0. It couldn't work out that way?
6. No, because that's 7 wins. There's only 6 games.
Oh, then fine. Flash Wolves goes 0-3 again.
Jeff?
TSM 3-0. WE 2-1. Flash Wolves 1-2. Misfits 0-3.
I just don't want to see EU and any EU team in the quarterfinals. I want to see Chinese, Korean, and good old NA.
I think that
good old Uncle Sam. That's what I want to see.
WE is going to destroy Misfits just like they did last week. I think TSM is going to fix their issues. And here's the thing. Darshan said it himself. No one takes practice as seriously as TSM, so I think they're going to come back stronger, much stronger this week. And then I think that Flash Wolves is too good to go winless in the entire group.
I have a different scenario.
Okay.
I think TSM's going to go 2-1.
Okay.
I think WE...
scared to say 3-0.
I think WE is going to go 2-1. I think Misfits is going to go 1-2, and I think Flash Wolves is going to go 1-2. And here's what I think is going to happen. TSM's going to beat WE and Misfits. TSM has WE's number, and I think they're going to be able to beat him in much the same style. I think Misfits also, I think TSM will be able to play a better game. They're not going to make stupid early game mistakes against Misfits, and they're going to beat them. Flash Wolves, at that point, is going to pretty much be out of contention they're going to be completely out of contention, because that means they would have already lost to Misfits and WE. And so I think they're going to bring out some cheese. Now, that doesn't matter. TSM would still qualify, still move on. But I really think
first, right?
I don't know exactly who would be first in that
scenario.
Because
it would be 2-0 over WE.
Yes, I believe that would be in first because of tiebreaker rules. Yeah, and I think that we could see TSM losing a game to Flash Wolves just because of the way that the schedule is put out, and Flash Wolves being kind of like, either they're going to smash Flash Wolves because Flash Wolves are done and want to go home, or Flash Wolves is going to be like, we've got nothing to lose. We're going to play Jace top, Nidalee jungle. They're going to just pull out. They're going to be the GAM of Group D. So that's my prediction for this week. But definitely tune in. I'm staying up for until 5 in the morning.
Yeah, same.
It's gonna be a super fun time. And I think TSM has a decent schedule. They've got a break for the first game. They get to watch Misfits, Flash Wolves. Then they get to play and root for Flash Wolves this week, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
If Flash Wolves beats Misfits and WE, that makes TSM's path to qualifying a lot easier.
And they're a team that can do it too.
Right. And then we just need TSM to beat just to win as many games as possible. If TSM goes 2-1 this week, if they go 2-1 this week, they're fine. They're in. If they go 3-0, obviously they're in their first. It'll be fun to watch. So remember, if they win, when they win, every game they win, we'll do a draw. So comment below on this video. Comment below. Comment below. Comment below. Not on his head. Down below on this video. We won't lock the chat, but I'll collect the names about 24 hours after TSM's last game. And then we will, next episode, like we did at the top of the episode, we will draw names. We'll get in contact with you about you winning, and we'll go from there. So go TSM. Also, PUBG does have week 5 of the APL this week, so definitely tune into that. Cheer them on. And with that, what?
I just watched 3 people get banned in Twitch chat for spamming. Good shit, guys. Whoever you guys are.
I was done.
Love to watch the world burn.
A little bit at a time. Just a little bit. A little bit at a time.
I can't promise this, but I think we're gonna see a Chris goes on a rant section next week. I'm sure something's gonna piss him off this next week. I don't know what it's gonna be. So tune in next episode for that.
If an
Brad
EU team makes it out of groups, probably it's gonna be that.
Yeah. And we have an opportunity to see all 3 Korean teams and all 3 North American teams making it out of groups, guys.
Shout out to C9. Shout out to C9 for playing their ass off, by the way. Good shit.
Well,
good shit to contracts.
EDG for absolutely tanking.
But that's typical China. No, that was expected. That was expected. That was from China.
Yeah. So that would be really hype if 6 of the 8 teams were 3 NA, 3 Korea teams. That would make a really straight quarterfinals, but
and Gigabyte Marines for pulling out Mordekaiser and Kane and throwing everything.
And that Fnatic game, that was incredible.
Yeah, good job for Gigabyte Marines staying true to themselves, just being fucking just being cool.
Maybe this week we'll get a happy rant about how good NA is.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get a happy rant about how Gigabyte Marines is gonna take Worlds. I'm watching their draft right now, and I'm hoping another Mord, maybe a Teemo top, please. Come on, Archie. Give me some love.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to sign off week 9. See you guys next week for week 10. We will be a little bit more lively because I'll have my counterpart in Sanity with me, and Brad. And yes, count how many times I cringed out this episode, including that one right there. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah.